then causing... Good. What are the union hours again for kids? What are the rules for kids? We're going to still have to be here. So Kevin King. He goes back inside because he needs to grab the cookies from the table. The Christmas cookies. Put them on the mantle for somebody. And then I was like, oh, that's going to mean so that's going to... No, the dog is not going to eat it. Can you explain to me what the toilet is transportation? You know, the toilet starts talking to the dog, like, oh yeah, right, the bidet is like, who shot me French? Fucking big French, but... And then we get a sad dog montage with him laying on the floor, and I'm like, where's the fucking Sarah McLachlan? What are we doing here, movie? Oh, wait, Brian. Yeah, I'll take care of it. I don't have to deal with all your fucking licensing rules in the movie. There he is, baby! They get there, they're breaking in the house, they talk about how he's doing for a while. So he like, hey, he's doing for a while. These take 20 minutes to try to pick a lot. And they end up, I made the lock. I didn't know how to make the keys. Yeah. I was like, oh, you want the lock, but you don't have a lock picking kit. You just have pick body pins. Which more than likely something. Oh. That's the move. Every second. Oh, okay. The yarmulke, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, I tried to go in the back and the ornament starts falling off. The guy starts nosing. I think they're acting like they're throwing bricks at him. They just seem like yeah, exactly, yeah. But they're literally just Christmas ornaments, so they wouldn't hurt at all. It's just like very light pieces of wood. Oh, do they hear the cat at the old lady's house meow and stuff? I hate dogs. Inside, and they yeah, because yeah, but that's in the hallway 4 feet from us, not across the street beyond behind a meow. And then, oh, look, his grandma is that lady from Austin Powers, or his mom. That's when they get there. So, yeah, it's that lady from Austin Powers. Well, of course, that's people in anything. There's Austin Powers. Zeus runs to go get help because he still can't bark, but it runs into something off. Again, and stuff happens off camera because they couldn't be bothered. Because he specifically says, "Oh, look, a tree branch." Yeah, and then runs behind the fence post, and then it's like, oh, and then wakes up in the cat lady's house. Which, by the way, so like it's the next. It's got to be like a few minutes later because it's all that same. Because they're breaking in. I know that's. And it's Christmas Eve, so it can't be. Yeah, it's got to be that evening. Hey, it stinks. What's it like being a cat? cat lady fixes cures the dog's PTSD basically. And really, that's what happens. She tells him this sweet story about how she used to have a dog,
And then the dog attacked me.
really?
He attacked me.
And ripped her sweater, and she sent it to the pound, and that's why everybody assumes she hates dogs.
I had to get in the way.
Also, I love she's like, people also think I don't like Christmas because I don't put lights up outside.
I have no one to help me put up lights. And I'm like,
You're perfectly well, like she's not like an old lady. She's like in her 50s, like, and she seems to get around fine whenever we see her. I'm like, you couldn't put a wreath on your door?
she's on like disability and they can't like, you gotta make sure she doesn't.
Yeah, go outside. Well, she has Christmas decorations everywhere in her home, and she's like, I would put them outside, but I can't. I'm like, you can hang a wreath. That takes literally no effort. I'm like, yeah, but sure, okay. So he preps for the robbers, and as they're going in, the robbers, that he goes, okay, well, we got these things. He goes, deal with the dog, in case, because we know there's a dog now. We find out there's a dog. He's got a muzzle, and he has a trank gun. And that trank gun is almost.
No, it's totally a Nerf gun.
It's 100% a Nerf gun, but where's the fucking thing at? I have that Nerf gun. I swear to God, it says, you know that little yellow one? Yeah. I don't know where it is. Doesn't matter. We're find it. It could be in another book. We were playing with it like this. There you go. Like, it is like almost exactly this Nerf gun. Like, almost exactly. I'm not kidding. Like, it might be this Nerf gun because this is $1 at like Walmart or whatever. Also, this thing shoots like a motherfucker. It's fucking kill somebody. But so they spray painted a Nerf gun black, and I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that is a Nerf gun spray painted black. And we'll talk about how much of a fucking Nerf gun spray painted black it is here in a second. They talk about this, so they run away from the ornaments, and then they go downstairs, and they're like, we get an 80-yard line of Joey Diaz being like, I'm gonna kick in the door because maybe their alarm's probably not on because there's somebody inside. I'm gonna kick in the door. Oh, my ankle. Oh, it's all off camera. Just 80-yard line, and then because it cuts, and then they're in the house, and we're like, all right, I'm just gonna kick in the basement door. If there's kids in there, then there's no way. They sneak in, they muzzle the dog, and I was like, these are the nicest robbers. These are like some good robbers. You would think that like their guys have been in prison, they don't care, they're just robbing houses, they just fucking kill the dog or something. So they muzzle the dog and they tie it to like a thing, like a bike or something. And
Joey Diaz wanted to kill him.
let it do it!
Because I took a driver to it.
Yeah. And then Joey Diaz finds the plaque and it's like, oh, this is a canine dog. I saw this dog on TV. This is the dog. See, the first special of these guys. Listen, it's him. This dog is one of the smartest dogs in the world.
Apparently he ain't past one.
He's the smartest dog in the world or something like that.
Let me take him.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill it. And then Dean Cain's like, we can kill it later. First we kill the king for it, then after we rob everything. And I'm like, why would you come back to kill the dog after you've stolen stuff and left? Like, and you can just leave. But it's so weird because they were just like, why would you bring non-lethal options for this dog, including mace and a muzzle, if you're perfectly willing to murder this dog? Just fucking murder the dog. I don't condone murdering dogs. I'm just saying.
I'm refusing to say anything. That's making Brian look very poor. Brian just killed him.
In this scene, and in most scenes, Joey Diaz's fucking face looks like he's in the middle of a heart attack. At all times. He literally constantly looks like he's having a heart attack. And he's like, just the most purple, strained face at all fucking times. And I'm like, how is this man still alive? How is he fucking
He's still alive.
He is.
Even that movie is 8 years ago.
Yeah, he's like 60 or something. He's still alive. He had a cocaine habit for 30 years, I read on Wikipedia. How is that man still alive? Besides, I don't understand it, man. I don't know if I can understand it. This is the other thing about this movie, and I guess like it's a comedy. It's a stupid family comedy, and it's the humor of it. But like this dog wouldn't have saved the day even remotely had these robbers been even the slightest bit. No, that's also true of Home Alone.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's also true of Home Alone. But like, the dog does nothing for most of the time they're there, but they just stay in the house for like 8 hours until the dog finally gets.
Joey Diaz plays around with pool.
Yeah, he runs around the pool. He makes 2 sandwiches. They just walk around. They even show them grabbing the jewelry, and then they still hang out forever. There's a scene where they're looking at the presents, and they're like, "We should steal these." And then Dean Cain is like,
Who has a heart in this movie?
"But he does it. But he fucking does it. It's the weirdest thing. He has a heart. Yeah, it seems like it. He's like." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And then Joey Diaz is like, "How about this? How about we take out it's a little line. All right. Wait, that's not better. That's the same as tape. Wait, what? That's the same thing. Oh, and this I called this. So the dog gets its muzzle free, starts intervening, and starts and then Joey Diaz pulls out the mace and.
Himself.
Oh, in the most predictable moment.
Clearly, like a squirt.
It's a $1 squirt bottle that you can full of water, yeah. Mace is almost always aerosolized. Like, almost always, I would think.
Brian is an expert on this.
I've been on the receiving end of quite a bit of mace, let me tell you. Always aerosolized. No, well, like, because that's so that it sprays a good distance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in this stuff, it's very clearly like a little pump bottle. He goes, but as soon as he pulled it out and was going like this up the stairs, I'm like, oh, you. And then, so he makes himself in the face, gets down on the floor, and then
down, and then DK pulls out
that Nerf gun, the trank gun,
and he's like training on the dog. And misses, and hits Joey Diaz right in the forehead.
And this fucking, oh my god. So, talk about lazy and cheap. It is literally, not only is it very clearly a Nerf gun just the first time you see it, but when he pulls it up and points it at the camera after he shoots it, you can see that little orange stick in the middle. They didn't paint that part or take it out. You can see that part in the middle of the fucking gun. Then, when they cut to the fucking dart on his forehead,
it's a hollow dart.
It's a hollow, poorly spray painted orange neon Nerf dart that has been hastily painted black, but not well, and you can still see the orange through it. I'm like, why would you use that? Why even if you want that in the gun and then you shoot it, when it cuts to his forehead, get something else. Use anything. Why would you use a spray painted black Nerf dart? You can literally use anything. Because
you find a dart and you find like literally a throwing dart.
Yeah.
Even and then give it like a poofy.
A poofy end. And fucking spirit gum it to his forehead. Yeah. Like what the fuck are we? They were so lazy, they couldn't be bothered because it was really easy and fast to spray paint a Nerf dart black and then lick it and stick it to his fucking forehead. I was like, fuck, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that's the kind of effort you're putting into this movie. Fuck you. I couldn't.
And then it comes through the climax, if you will.
Yeah. Dog drops the chandelier.
And here's the thing. The chandelier was set up earlier in the film. What? I don't like how the chandelier is up there.
George, we really need to get that chandelier in the foyer fixed. I don't think that it's safe hanging the time.
It's probably safe the way it is, right?
We don't see up until this moment where the chandelier is just knotted to the railing.
Yeah. Tied to the fucking railing.
How incredibly unsafe is that?
Stupid. The dog unties it and drops it on him. And then
somebody hears something.
Oh, well, the neighbor, the cat lady hears, and she calls the cops.
Yeah.
And the cops show up, and the dog's standing there on him barking. And then that's when our family gets home.
By the way, you would expect for the cops to...
Yeah, normally in those instances, But they were like, oh, good job, dog. I'm like, that's all right.
It's amazing, like, and the rest was amazing because then these guys really want Zeus as their police
Well,
dog.
they even say when they get there, they're like, when the family shows up, because the family decided to come home and so that Zeus wasn't alone.
Because they're like, oh god, we can't handle this woman. And then they bring her. They bring the grandma.
Oh, bring grandma, yeah. Well, it's not even we can't handle her. They say no. They want to go home because they say Zeus. They want to go get Zeus.
Yeah.
Because they say Zeus shouldn't be home alone for Christmas or whatever. Except
We're gonna go too.
true. So then they get there, and I love the police there. And the police find this, the people this under the chandelier with the dog standing there. And then when the family shows up, the police go,
Was it your dog? You can't do it down the road.
"Fuck, you know that? Like, you found two crooks in a house with a chandelier laying on them. You don't know the fucking dog had anything to do with that. Like, what?
It's too confidential.
Yeah, and then the mice, because who cares about them? But yeah, did they want to recruit Zeus? Yeah. That's not how this works. He has the pedigree, I guess. But, like, I love that it's like, this, we need a dog like this down with the police thing. But I'm like, you just gotta ask this family for their dog because you think it's fucking cool. No, this is ours now. This is a fantasy. And then, yeah, even though fuck their mom. She's like, oh my god, we know it's 100% right. And then I'm like, yeah, they do. What the? Let's watch this sequel. They're like the 100% upstairs scissoring while the family's like celebrating Christmas. That is what I was moving in. Spoiler alert. That's how this fucking movie is. And then the arrows show up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm so fucking loud on this thing. They go stand out for 10 minutes and get my key. There's also one scene where the dog Kevin James is actually super serious at the actress. It seems like it. He's like very. You can see the fury boiling in her. She keeps messing up and laughing. He's like, you're shaking. He's like, you're so funny. This is so funny. Get her right. He wants to fucking shake until he stops breathing. He's like, shit. The acting is at best. Yeah, like you said, nailing and like crazy. But there's moments that are funny, and it's like innocent. Like it's just like a dumb movie. It's a home movie. Like it's not anything like.
Yeah, this is really good stuff. It's just like every other movie that we've done, which is a copy of another movie.
You're like way less fine, and it has nothing that stands out that makes it good. So yeah, I'd say. That's going to do it for the 67th episode of the Big Batman. We have hit what is that? We're going to do next. Also, this one is it. Every episode, 8 from them, not very far. Next episode, check it out on Steam. And we're already close to Thanksgiving. And our next episode is out after Christmas 4. Merry Christmas if the next episode doesn't come out. Either way, just all the time.
Oh. There's oil. Look at this shit.
Ted Nugent once told a story about jamming with Jim Lucas. According to Ted, he gave the guitar master a start. Here's Ted.
In 1969, just prior to Jimmy's death, we were at the rehearsal, and the Amway Dukes were opening up for Jimi Hendrix. And I jammed with my Gibson Birdland and with a little amplifier with Jimi Hendrix playing his upside down Strat. And he was asking me how I got those noises on the Birdland. Of course, I didn't know. I just knew it. He offered me his pills, and he offered me his dope. Just no way. Now, that's a lot of pressure. Or people would call that pressure. I didn't look at it as pressure at all. I looked at it as somebody going, I've got a broken glass sandwich. Want a bite? No, thank you. Not only do I want a bite, is there anything I can do to help you stop eating broken glass sandwiches? Because it might be why your gums are bleeding. So luckily, I was able to stand my ground that day. And shortly, I told Jimmy he was going to die. He was already boogery and pukey and drooly. And it was a crying shame because he'd lost his fire musically. His communication capabilities were marginal, and it broke my heart.
Ted Nugent once told a story about jamming with Jim Lucas. According to Ted, he gave the guitar.
Have you ever heard this sound? It's a tiny little beep that sparked one of the biggest legal feuds in tech history between Apple IV, record label, and Apple II. In 1978, Apple Corp, the Beatles, sued Apple Computers for trademark. Essentially, the record label said, hey, we're called Apple, we were here first, and you guys being called Apple is infringing upon our business. The suit was settled in 1981, and Apple Computers was paid $80,000 for the record. And additionally, there was a complicated settlement. Apple Computers could not enter the music business, and Apple IV agreed not to enter the computer business. 5 years later, Apple starts adding MIDI and audio recording capabilities to its computers. That led to the record label suing again, claiming it violated their 1981 settlement agreement, and Apple had to pay out $26.5 million. They then resettled the terms of the agreement, and it all got settled. During that lawsuit in 1989, Jim Reeks, who was the founder behind Apple, was sprinkling sounds throughout the net. The lawsuit forced Apple to rename a bunch of sound files to avoid any music sound. The sound was originally called xylophone. Jim Reeks, trying to poke fun at the whole Apple versus Beatles situation, was like, okay, what if we call it Let It Beep? To which the Apple mayor said, and that's been very funny. The situation was like, oh yeah, so sue me. And upon reflecting on the sue me, he was like, yeah, that's perfect. He pretended it was some Japanese word, said it had absolutely nothing to do with music, and it's not. Have you ever heard this sound? It's a tiny little beep that sparked one of the biggest legal feuds in tech history between Apple IV.
It's in Spartan. It's huge.
posted a video, some of you guys have seen it, of me shooting a gun at the range recently. I just got a comment on YouTube about it from a viewer that I don't know. And it just said 004 head. I posted a video, some of you guys have seen it.
Somebody comes and opens my door in my vehicle, I may shoot him too. He could have driven off. If he wanted to talk to her, he could have called her on her cell phone. If he really wanted to talk to her that badly, he could have walked over and said, please roll your window down. Instead, he reached out and opened the door of her vehicle. If somebody comes and opens my door of my vehicle, I may shoot him too. He could have driven off. If he wanted to talk to her,
Your vibe, like your style, you sing, you play. You might break my mind crazy. It's funny that you say that. Let's go. Look at this. Come here. How old are you, baby? 32. You look damn good. What's the secret? Tell me, Chris Angel. Not Chris Angel. I'm Chris. Well, let's do a card trick and blow your minds. Do me a favor, tell me when to stop. Remember this, Colin? Okay. You got it. Do you remember my name? I believe I was introduced to you. I'll remind you one time. First, choose a Colin. So we see that club or a spade.
that guy is funny. He's always
The ace of spades.
yeah.
Okay, but thankfully that it's something to read. In the case of the proof of real it's complicated. It's not on my ass. Hey. If you enjoy my show, mate, where's your trunk? Give her a kiss for me, please. Okay, Mark.
Mr. West, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly state, under penalty of perjury, that the evidence you shall give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. I see that you're looking down at probably a device. Are you on your phone?
Yes.
I'm going to ask as a ground rule that you not be on your phone during the exam. Can we agree to that?
Due to my mental geniusness, in order to focus on this course, I need to be on a phone.
Counsel, do you want to speak to your client before we continue?
Well, Mr. Kanye, in terms of, you can listen to the questions and answer them, right?
Okay, I get on the
Okay. Mr. West, why have you donned the mask to start this deposition?
because you don't have the right to see my face.
Mr. West, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly
What I have here is 100 pounds of metal. More specifically, it's supposed to be tungsten, which is one of the densest metals. And I've been really interested to know what it looks like inside. Just open it up. Ring. Open it up. And that's it. Oh, it's not that bad. Put a grip on it. it's just so egregiously heavy. So I'm gonna try to lift it like this. I'm gonna just carry it in my arms. Oh, that's my legs. This is 100 pounds? Oh my god. This is the heaviest child ever. That's brutal. Okay, we need to verify it. Now, we need to verify its weight. I don't actually believe it's 100 pounds. Because with scale, let's see where we scanned. Okay, come on, dude. Okay, I think I had a burst of energy at the beginning. It's really heavy. Oh, I can't get it. It's my leg. Okay.
It's 100 pounds, easy.
Oh my god, it's 100 pounds. That's heavy. For the volume? Yeah. Impressive. All of this is actually tungsten shot. The main purpose of this is to load into shotgun shells. But that's not what we're using. We have some much more exciting plans. But first, get back in the bucket. Okay, more energy. Heavy. What I have here is 100 pounds.
Tricky. Just stick Dicky.
Are you a wizard? Wait, was that hypnotist? No, I'm not hypnotized yet. Do you remember my name? You know your name? No, I can't be hypnotized yet. But if you've never been hypnotized before, it's one of those steps we like to do, and it's called imagination.
No, nothing.
I want you to take this invisible blade.
Alright, fuck this.
3, 2, 3.
Fuck this shit. Waiters.
Suddenly, the majestic form of a wild creature caught Phoenix's eye. If Phoenix...
Another deep breath in for me. It sounds like they need to forget.
I get a beer. Can we grab a beer?
You can tell me what calls him, man. Ace of spades. What the heck? I've never been gay in my life. That's great. Well, you have nothing to celebrate this with. It's true. Hey. I'll find your ace of spades. Give me 3 seconds. Actually, in case you want to.
Married?
Yeah.
Joseph.
Tina. That's small.
But I was smoking weed one time. I was watching UFC fight fans. I thought it was live. I started reading about some other fight. So he was like, I'm fluttering around. I'm hashtagging UFC like UFC 160. The next day, I seemed like, I was texting Brendan Shaw, like, dude, that fight was crazy, right?
Just wanted to tame the beautiful beast. The mortal would have to befriend it first.
Why are you whispering?
Because I don't want to scare it away.
What are you on? Because can I have some?
UFC fight fans. I thought it was live. I started reading about some other fight. He's like, I'm fluttering around. I'm hashtagging UFC like UFC 160. The next day, I seemed like, I was texting Brendan Shaw, like, dude, that fight was crazy, right? I look up there and somebody was like, oh man, I ain't got called. When I was smoking weed one time, I was watching UFC fight fans. I thought it was live. I started reading about some other fight. He's like, I'm fluttering around. I'm hashtagging UFC like UFC 160. The next day, I seemed like, I was texting Brendan Shaw, like, dude, that fight was crazy, right? I look up there and somebody was like, oh man, I ain't got called. When I was smoking weed one time, I was watching like UFC fight fans. I thought it was live. I started
Female police officers.
He was a nice officer, guys. So why don't we just give him back his watch?
Female police officers.
Are you ready to hear the original?
No, but
The original drummer has like some delays and stuff on the hi-hats and the bass drum in the intro. There's lots of cool effects. Have you ever heard of Stuart Copeland?
Steve.
This is the police. Every little thing she does is magic from 1981. So we'll put the drums in. Are you ready to hear the original?
no, but
The original drummer has like some delays and stuff on the hi-hats and the bass drum in the intro.
Hi, can you stop the car, please? Do you know why I stopped you?
Yes, I do. I was spinning my tires on the phone.
Yeah.
I agree.
And what's the deal? Just got in your car or something? You want to test it out?
I saw my friend.
Showing the power?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So in a 1974 Gran Torino, so I know where you're coming from.
We got a 74 Gran Torino.
Starsky and Hutch car.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got a 72 and this is 72.
All right. He was pretty straightforward about why he was spinning his tires and whatnot. And there's no signs of impairment from him. Yeah, it looks like he's valid, and he's been honest with me. I'm going to cut him a break, and hopefully it'll change his behavior, and he won't need to show off his hot rod anymore. I appreciate you being honest with me, and all you need to see is me. You don't need to see the road. You're not driving right now.
My mirror.
Okay, just relax.
I'm telling you right now that I can't see the road.
I know, but I'm telling you I need to see the road. I'm just talking to you, so. And when this traffic stop is done, you'll be able to drive away.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. As I was saying, I appreciate you being honest with me.
You're right to be honest with you, because that's what happens when you pull me over, right?
Right. Yeah, but you'd be surprised how many people are not honest with me. So, anyway,
I told you, I spun.
yeah.
My girlfriend called me.
Okay.
I spun my tires, homeboy right here. He never been a 74 Ford Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you're just, I'll turn off my car for you. Sorry, yes, I spun my tires for
What you're looking at here is an impossible object. It doesn't make any sense.
What is
It's a single piece of paper that's been folded in such a way that you end up with this large flap. And if you look at this, you can see the flap is obviously too big to have been cut from this side, and too big to have been cut from this side. The more you stare at this thing, the less things it makes. As I say, it's one piece of paper, there's no glue, there's no tape involved. Cuts and some flaws. Let me show you the secret. So all you need for this is a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. First thing you do is you fold the piece of paper in half, lengthwise. Now you're going to make your first cut. You're going to cut with the scissors from this long side and the centre of the long side all the way to the crease. Don't go any further than the crease. Two more cuts. This first cut is going to be in the middle of this piece here, so I'm going to put it right there. Same on this side. I'm in the middle of this piece here, so I'll be putting it right here. Again, don't go any further from the crease. Same on this side. Again, I'm not using a ruler, I'm just doing it by eye. And you are almost done. So you fold the paper, you put your 3 cuts in. Here's the big secret to making impossible object. Pick up the paper, and if you pick it up with 2 hands, your right hand is going to rotate it backwards. And just putting that little twist in the piece of paper is how you create this absolutely impossible object. And your brain will be able to figure out how you do it. Enjoy it, impress your friends, and if you want to learn more cool tricks like this, what you're looking at here is an impossible object. It doesn't make any sense. It's a single piece of paper that's been folded in such a way that you end up with this large flap. If you look at this, you can see the flap is obviously too big to have been cut from this side, and too big to have been cut from this side. The more you stare at this thing, the less sense it makes. As I say, it's one piece of paper, there's no glue, there's no tape involved, just some cuts and some flaws. Let me show you the secret. So what you need for this is a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. First thing you do is you fold the piece of paper in half. Now you're going to make your first cut. You're going to cut with the scissors from this long side, in the centre of the long side, all the way to the crease. Don't go any further than the crease. 2 more cuts. This first cut is going to be in the middle of this piece here, so I'll just put that there. Same on this side, in the middle of this piece here, so I'll be putting that there. Again, don't go any further than the crease. Same on this side, again, I'm not using a ruler, I'm just doing it by eye. You are almost done. So you fold the paper, you put your 3 cuts in. Here's the big secret to making impossible object. Pick up the paper, and pick it up with 2 hands. Your right hand is going to rotate it backwards, and just putting that little twist in the piece of paper. That's how you create this absolutely impossible object. Nobody will be able to figure out how you do it. Enjoy it, impress your friends, and if you want to learn more cool tricks like this. What you're looking at here is an impossible object. It doesn't make any sense. It's a single piece of paper that's been folded in such a way that you end up with this large flap. If you look at this, you can see the flap is obviously too big to have been cut from this side, and too big to have been cut from this side. The more you stare at this thing, the less sense it makes. As I say, it's one piece of paper, there's no glue, there's no tape involved, just some cuts and some flaws. Let me show you the second. So all you need for this is a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. First thing you do is you fold the piece of paper in half. Now you're going to make your first cut. You're going to cut cut with the scissors from this long side and the centre of the long side all the way to the twist. Don't go any further than the twist. 2 more cuts. This first cut is going to be in the middle of this piece here, so I'm going to put it there. Same on this side, not in the middle of this piece here, so I'm going to put it here. Again, don't go any further than the twist. Same on this side, again, I'm not using a ruler, I'm just doing it. So you fold the paper, here's the big secret. Pick up the paper, and if you pick it up with 2 hands, the right hand is going to rotate it backwards, and just bring that little twist of the piece of paper. That's how you create this absolutely impossible. Nobody will be able to figure out how you do it. So enjoy it, impress your friends, and if you want to learn more cool tricks like this, what you're looking at here is an impossible object. It doesn't make any sense. It's a single piece of paper folded in such a way that you end up with this large flap. If you look at this, you can see the flap is obviously too big to have been put from this side, and too big to have been put from this side. The more you stare at this thing, the more sense it makes. As I say, it's one piece of paper, there's no glue, there's no tape involved, it's roots for some points. Let me show you the secret. So what you need for this is a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. First thing you do is you fold the piece of paper in half, lengthwise like this. Now you're going to make your first cut. You're going to cut with the scissors from this long side, in the centre of the long side, all the way to the twist. Don't go any further than the twist. 2 more cuts. This first cut is going to be in the middle of this piece here, so I'm going to put it there. Same on this side, in the middle of this piece here, so I'm going to put it there. Again, don't go any further than the twist. Same on this side, again, I'm not using a ruler, I'm just doing fine and fine. So you fold the paper, you put it in 3 cuts. Here's the big secret to making this collection. Pick up the paper, and if you pick it up with 2 hands, the right hand is going to twist it. And that little twist in a piece of paper is how you create this absolutely impossible object. Nobody will be able to.
weird.
Enjoy it, especially friends, and if you want to learn more cool kids like to see more.
Absolutely. Kids that is trying. Voices and this shit.
Hey, bro. Hey, would you be able to upgrade this mirror for me? Yeah. Oh, it's really heavy. I've got 50 euro for you, bro. That's thank you. Let's go. Yeah. Sorry, go. Hey, bro. Hey, would you be able to upgrade this mirror? That's just, oh, it's really heavy. I've got
Trigger warning. This is hard to watch.
A husband and wife were walking down the sidewalk in broad-ass daylight in Paris, and three masked men jumped out of a van, tried to grab his wife. The dude couldn't fight all three of them off, so he did the only thing that he could do, and he just grabbed his wife and tried to put himself on top of her so that they couldn't pull her away. First time that I watched this video, I thought he was wearing a red hat. That wasn't a hat. That is the blood seeping out of his head. No matter what they did to him, he refused to let go because I think that he knew that it would be the last time anyone would ever see his wife alive. The only reason that they stopped and left was because a bystander grabbed a fire extinguisher and ran to their aid. That husband and that bystander are real men. That is what we are supposed to do in situations like this. To all the women and the men out there, you need to stay vigilant because there are monsters that are walking amongst us. Can I get a hell yeah for these two dudes?
I had a friend from high school. Now, in high school, this guy was a thug. And then after high school, word on the street was he'd come out. I bring him up because last year he calls me out of the blue like, yo, what's up, man? I heard you'll be in New York on a show. Can I get some tickets?
get some tickets, man. Where you been? He said, well, we'll catch up at the show, man. But yo, I appreciate it. I'll see you soon. I said, all right, man, take care. I was about to hang up, but I couldn't resist. I was just like, hey, man, I heard you was gay. What's going on with that? And I wish I didn't ask. Because he sounded like he was dying to talk about that shit. And it's not that I didn't care, but I was, I like talking on the phone. I was watching TV at the same time. So I just wasn't really paying attention like I should. But I was trying to sound supportive. I didn't really know what to say. So I was like mumbling throughout this conversation. You gay, man. You just gay. This went on for a while. And finally, I had to say something like definitive to get him off the phone. Hey, man, you know what? Don't let people get you in. The next time someone tries to make you feel bad about yourself, just remember, every person is funny to somebody. He didn't like that shit. He's like, what the fuck does that mean? Was he saying a funny monkey? I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying so you ain't saying it. You say it funny. It's so fucking funny about the way I thought. And I said, hey, man, I'm saying it. You said what? I get women to squeeze their feet together like this, and I can right that little space in their feet. But you can't build a community behind that shit. There's no flag for us. I had a friend from high school now.
Alright, so check this out, dude. Okay. A giant stack of powder. It's powderized aerogel. Yeah. So I figured you could hold your hand, and then let's see if it's hydrophobic. Take a rip out the hole. Okay. I think I'll do. Thank you. So I don't know if you should wear a mask because it's very finely grained. Yeah, I mean, it is aerogel. It's just super fine silica. And yeah, I'm not looking to get silicosis today. So, fair enough. That is so good. Okay, I got this.
Hi.
Yeah, like, get full coverage. It's like placebo what? That is weird. It feels like my ass is in a liquid. I don't think so. Okay. Can you do it? Yes. Oh. Look at my wrist though. You can see the lines in the waterproof. Stop right. It looks like a silver surfer, dude. I think if I put it in again, repelling. This feels weird. It feels like a weird jelly. Because normally the water sticks. Let's turn my fingers. How do you get it off? I have no idea. Alright, so check this out, dude. Okay. Let's try and you need a what? You need to come out of this what? Like changing it. Oh, okay. Thank you, moving. W. Have a good day. You need a what?
Hello and welcome back to Super Pop Music Theory. What do people mean when they say half-time? No, it doesn't mean you take a break, regroup, have a banana and get them in the second half, but rather, half-time refers to the feel of a beat or rhythm. Here is a normal beat in 4/4. The kick is on the 1 and 3, and the snare is on the 2 and 4. If half-time means halving the amount of beats within that bar or phrase, you end up having the kick on 1 and the snare on 3. When do folks use this? Well, everyone loves a good half-time bridge, right? And there are countless pop-punk artists who love a good half-time chorus in the end. So, what's double time then? Well, as you probably guessed, double time is the complete opposite. You double the amount of beats in bar phrase, so it would be kick on 1.
What? Huh? What'd you say? I gotta get off these shorts. Now they're both on shorts.
We're being engaged by a disciple, so I'm trying to do a snap bang. Do I hear the...
Let's get back to the today we'll analyze the case of earlier prison. First, I'll look at the background of this case, then to the timeline of the time. Victoria Lynn Goodwin was born in 1993 and was raised in California in 1999. At an age, she demonstrated an aptitude. She attended college on and off. In 2015, Victoria was forced to give up golf after being diagnosed with a rare medical disorder. In 2018, she met a man named Aaron Lewin, and they became romantically involved. Aaron had been born in 1976 and raised in Portland, Oregon, so he was 17 years older than Victoria. As far as his career, Aaron moved to Las Vegas, Nevada in 1998 to pursue filmmaking. Eventually, he was hired as a cameraman for a TV show called Ghost Adventures. Later, he was given the opportunity to move from behind the camera to in front of it. Ghost Adventures is a paranormal reality television series that follows a team of people who refer to themselves as investigators as they explore locations said to be haunted. The crew uses various pieces of equipment like visual recorders and thermal cameras in an effort to capture evidence of the paranormal. One of their ongoing routines is to spend a night locked inside a haunted location, documenting their experiences in real time. Aaron's job often involved being left in paranormal hotspots as bait for the ghosts. His primary skill appeared to be working surprise. The show never found any evidence of the paranormal. The viewer is no more in danger of seeing the investigators discover ghosts than they are seeing the investigators demonstrate any appreciable talent. Despite being an incredibly boring show, Ghost Adventures was on for 19 seasons on the Travel Channel before moving to Discovery Plus in 2021. At the time I'm making this video, the show is up to 28 seasons, because they simply refuse to leave the ghosts alone. You can make a good argument that the ghosts need a restraining order. They're probably thinking, wait a minute, I thought we were supposed to be the ones doing it. Getting back to the relationship between Victoria and him. During Christmas, on May 4th, 2020, Instagram posted a business report indicating that the conversation was maybe the couple had some family investment either way, they definitely married at some point. Even get According to Aaron, Victoria had sex with multiple men. Aaron tried to work things out with her due to a sense of loving commitment. As it turns out, Victoria had something other than reconciliation. This brings me to the timeline of the crime. On October 3, 2022, prison officials in Florida accused a Southampton inmate named Grant Amato. He is a notorious killer who, in 2019, was murdered and brother due to an infatuation with a Bulgarian drug family. He was later convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. He covered the case on Grant Amato in a separate video. Prison officials eventually examined the compound feed on Grant and discovered some troubling information about Victoria Goodwin. In October 2025, they contacted the authorities in Nevada. Here is what the police found in the course of their investigation. Victoria and Grant had been communicating since March 2024. They were in some type of creepy, long-distance romantic relationship. Victoria was trying to reach out to Grant by being against the memory of the case, titled Short and Connect. The couple talked about how much they were in love, and how Victoria's husband Aaron was not accepting the divorce. In October 2, 2024, Victoria and Grant discussed setting aside $11,515. And both parties were nervous. Victoria wrote, "I'm so anxious. I don't know how to help." Grant asked, "Am I that person?" When Grant asked her when she was pregnant, she responded, "Because I chose to end his existence to work." Victoria sent photographs of her husband to Grant. She also supplied Grant with information on his vehicle and location. At one point, when speaking about him, Victoria wrote, "He's essentially honest," in her phone. This makes it seem like Victoria was pretty serious about being killed. On the next step, October 3, 2024, Grant contacted an alleged inmate and indicated he would call him into the stop. Later that same day, Grant asked if he completed his film, writing, "I need to know what is going on. Can I get an update? Is it done?" As I mentioned, prison officials seized Grant's cell phone the same day, October 3, through the course of their romantic relationship. At the time I'm making this video, the show is up to 28 seasons. So they simply refuse to leave the ghosts alone. One can make a good argument that the ghosts need a restraining order. They're probably thinking, wait a minute, I thought we were supposed to be the ones doing it. Okay. Moving back to the relationship between Victoria and Aaron. According to court documents, the couple married on May 4, 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada. Instagram posts tell a different story, indicating the couple was married at Disneyland's Haunted Mansion in 2022. Maybe the couple had a private ceremony in 2020 and then a more extravagant wedding in 2022. It's not clear. Either way, they definitely married at some point. However, everything didn't work out as expected. In September 2024, the marriage hit a speed bump. According to Aaron, Victoria had sex with multiple men. Aaron tried to work things out with her due to a sense of loving commitment. As it turns out, Victoria had something other than reconciliation. This brings me to the timeline of the crime. On October 3, 2024, prison officials in Florida seized a cell phone from an inmate named Grant Amato. He is a notorious killer who, in 2019,
father, and brother due to an infatuation with a Bulgarian webcam model. He was later convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. I covered the case of Grant Amato in a separate video. Prison officials eventually examined the cell phone seized from Grant and discovered some troubling information about Victoria Goodwin. On March 4, 2025, they contacted the authorities in Nevada. Here is what the police found during the course of their investigation. Victoria and Grant had been communicating since March 2024. They were in some type of creepy, long-distance romantic relationship. Victoria was inspired to reach out to Grant after seeing a documentary about his case titled Control Alt Desire. The couple talked about how much they were in love and how Victoria's husband Aaron would not accept a divorce. On October 2, 2024, Victoria and Grant discussed setting aside $11,515 to hire a third party to murder Aaron. Victoria wrote, "I'm so anxious, LOLOL," and asked, "Am I a bad person?" When Grant asked her why she would say that, she responded, "Because I chose to end his existence, not divorce." Victoria sent photographs of her husband to Grant. She also supplied Grant with information about Aaron's vehicle and location. At one point, when speaking about Aaron, Victoria wrote, "He's asleep right now," in the hotel room. This makes it seem like Victoria was pretty serious about Aaron being killed. On the next day, October 3, 2024, Grant contacted an alleged hitman and indicated he would call Aaron to distract him. Later that same day, Grant asked if he completed the killing, writing, "I need to know what is going on. When I get an update, is it done?" As I mentioned, prison officials seized Grant's cell phone this same day, October 3. Through the course of their romantic relationship, Victoria sent $60,000 to associates of Grant, although some of this may have been due to blackmail and not to keep the murder for hire plot moving. When the police confronted Victoria, she admitted that she was having marital problems, but denied plotting to kill her husband. She wanted to be with Grant instead, but described this desire as nothing more than fantasy and daydreams. Victoria no longer felt that way and did not remember sending messages about a murder for hire to Grant. As far as the money she promised Grant, Victoria thought it was for something. On March 6, 2025, Victoria Goodwin was arrested, charged with solicitation of dishonest conspiracy to testify. 6 days later, Aaron filed for divorce, mostly because of the murder. Following the court, the views, tastes, likes, and dislikes of husband and wife have become incompatible to the extent that it has become impossible for them to live together as husband and wife in moral common. There is no possibility of reconciliation between husbands and wife. I would guess that the main problem was that when Aaron's wife became hot, but this was also one of Victoria's good points. On April 22, 2025, as part of a plea document, Victoria pleaded guilty to conspiracy and murder. She was sentenced on June 5, 2025. At the hearing, the prosecutor did not offer a sentence recommendation. Rather, talked about how invested Victoria was in the murder for hire plot. Victoria's defense attorney made several points. For example, Victoria was the only person charged, not Grant or the alleged hitman. She had no criminal record, and Victoria abandoned the murder for hire plot in November 2022. Also pointed out that Victoria understood there were consequences for her actions. For example, even if her family would have purchased the home, Victoria decided to remain in jail. Victoria addressed the court directly, saying, quote, "I would like to apologize to Aaron. I am so immensely sorry for the pain and anxiety I caused you and the betrayal you undoubtedly and rightfully feel in my actions. I need you to know that I will always hold God for you. I genuinely pray you find your joy and peace again, and I will vow to live your life forever to hopefully ease that problem. I'm sorry if I broke us, and I'm consumed with regret every day. I absolutely promise to you that you will never see or hear from me. I intend to leave the state of Nevada, and you and anyone else will never be in danger of me again." Unquote. Aaron Goodwin spoke to the judge, referring to Victoria, who said, quote, "She made me feel so special. She was buried. She was so sorry. At least, that's
That's what she told me. Now, discovering she put a hit out to kill me for once, blackmail, and spent almost all of our savings to keep her quiet, and we found more and more of her. Then, even got spiritual and married, and now I was having the first time. They talked until she was arrested, and she sought out this help for him, unquote. Aaron indicated that he will never feel safe again regardless of whether Victoria received a minimum or maximum sentence. The judge sentenced Victoria Goodwin to 3 to 7.5 years in prison. Under the here are my thoughts on a few areas of the agreement case. In 2019, Aaron referred to Victoria on Instagram post saying, quote, "I'm so lucky to have her in my life. She helps me when I'm down, and she always makes me laugh. I always feel safe. She is next to me, holding my hand," unquote. It seems clear that Aaron once felt strongly that his relationship with Victoria was going to be productive. But of course that changed after she was arrested. Many people were touched by Aaron's speech to his relation with Victoria's sentencing. For example, at one point he said, "I cry every day. I feel so numb." Aaron appeared to be sincere, and the depth of Victoria's betrayal was evident in his words and religion. When Aaron was told by the police that Victoria was arrested, it must have been frightening and confusing to him on many levels. He mentioned that Victoria had some infidelity issues, so clearly Aaron knew his marriage was perfect. But to go from that point to a murder for hire plot was quite a leap, especially considering Victoria was having an emotional affair with a convicted murderer, and who was definitely willing and capable of following through with the homicide plan. This brings me to item number 2. Victoria selected one of the creepiest offenders in history as her emotional affair partner. Grant Amato is undesirable in just about every way imaginable. It's nearly impossible to
so there's one here.
who is more undesirable. Some romantic partners are described as being at the bottom of the barrel. That would be a promotion for Grant. He was 10,000 feet below the barrel. Grant would be happy if he was even close enough to see the barrel. A lot of marriages have trouble. It's not necessarily surprising Victoria wasn't happy with hers. She may have had a reason. How does that lead to contacting Grant? Victoria's attraction to Grant defies rational explanation. Why did it seem like a good idea to reach out to a convicted killer? So Victoria watched the documentary about Grant and Mary, called After Love, and somehow thought to herself, "Hey, this is the guy I need to be with. Here is a man who has figured everything out. He is going places. The future is with him. He has so much more to than anybody who is not in prison for life." Victoria's decision was probably driven by emotions and was consistent with pain and critical thinking skills. Even though contacting Grant was a mistake, Victoria could have just stopped there. This confidence in him, instead, she conspired with him. He was talking to a man whose communications should have been monitored by the authorities. Victoria was extremely fortunate that she did not end up in prison for life. If Grant had been successful in getting the alleged hitman, and he could help, it was exactly the way Victoria was. It was quick, it wasn't like a mistake, it was just a good mistake. He worked with the capacity of Victoria, even if I could check. Victoria watched it, she was fascinated, and for example, she saw a man who was willing to commit suicide with her woman. Relationship. Sometimes they put the unexpected effort that aspect issues in areas of empathy, fantasy, or power and control. Victoria believed that Grant was a perfect woman. This dangerous and distorted perspective led to Victoria starting a relationship with Grant. As the romance progressed, the destructive dynamics led to the murder for hire. Eventually, Victoria did come to regret her friend's behavior, but it was too late to escape the consequences. Not only did she end up in prison, she caused Aaron a lot of misery. Aaron Goodwin spent a good portion of his career trying to convince people that he could tolerate being alone.
That's so.
Now he is afraid that he will be haunted by one who is very close to him. Even after ghosts from the show, this one has proven that she can reach out from afar. Those are my thoughts on the case of Victoria Goodwin. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Just a reminder that I have over 300 pre-release videos. Videos that I put on pre-release status on Patreon are the same quality as the videos I release to the public. When I put them in pre-release status, they usually stay that way for over a month.
Like this.
In fact, there were no injuries.
It's going here. I swear there's nothing else.
Today we're reacting to the medical science. We give you this overview
Gotta be something over there, right? Ah.
Before we get into the photographs, and I'm going to warn you right now, they're kind of graphic.
Could be useful.
But if you're screaming, Could be a red wine, cabbage, sweet,
What else? More shit. No.
Why do you have to move? Why? When is there not?
How do you get back?
So, if you look at the back of his head, he's got laceration. If you look at his right arm, or right hand, he's got bruises in it. If you look at his left hand, he's got very bruises in it. Which could be defensive. And, you know, you also bruise when you IV and you chew. But then look at his arms laceration really and they don't look consistent with being dragged and hit by a car. You got a couple of like big lacerations. I mean, they almost look like they're, you know,
You got to make it too.
that is precursor to this is about training you've got hypothermia and blood pressure. We're also going into which means
It's not good. It's to get back, is it?
it shows you three when you're when you move, all these things.
It's not like you climb up there.
Give you a lot of information that you can do. Let's get into this. Isn't it correct that for hypothermia, in the presence of Wisniewski's ulcers or spots, that you have to have a predominance of the stomach covered by the spots for them to be Wisniewski's ulcers? That's a let's look at
Alright.
They are gastric and the lesions that are associated with hypothermia. I've not had a so far, you have to know the subject matter. You study it, and you have to know it as much as the forensic pathologist and infectious and all of that.
think there's different levels and different grades.
In hypothermia,
Whatever.
particularly death from hypothermia, wouldn't you expect to see a predominance of those ulcers, meaning they take up most of the stomach lining? Isn't that what you would expect to see?
Not always. I've seen that. I've also seen cases with much fewer spots, as you refer to them.
But isn't
Where's
the
my mouse?
majority of the cases that you will see where someone is
I have
actually
to do this
died from
every single time I
hypothermia,
want.
the ulcers predominate, take up
Fucking
greater than 50% of them.
There's no computer. We've already asked for one.
And what percentage of the, and I'm trying to avoid putting it up again. So, what percentage of the gastric mucosa of Mr. T, would you estimate, is taken up by the ulcers that you have identified?
I would say between 10 and 15.
Just 10 and 15%. Now, if we could look to the issue of
yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
It's hard to hear them. So do you know any evidence of the and that's constructive because the actual
No, I do not.
Can't even shoot. Damn.
one of the things medical examiners do is they don't just look at it. They look at everything. They look at police
Just over there.
the weather conditions, the scene. They take a little bit of everything, or take it all in, and that's how they draw their conclusion.
It was very cold. There was a blizzard coming.
They told it in room. And you say very cold, in addition to very cold, you recall whether there was no vaccine.
I believe so.
And you understand that when there's a very cold temperature in Fahrenheit, and you add gusty wind, that is called, when you apply the two together, that's called wind chill, right?
Correct.
And with wind chill, doesn't the phenomenon of wind chill mean that the wind combined with the temperature brings the actual temperature down, and in addition to bringing it down to the wind chill calculation, it also has a physical effect on the top, correct?
Well, of course, colder temperatures are winter. And his point, he didn't see any evidence of crime. And you have a nor'easter, you ran blistering, moving conditions, and if he was out there for that long, then he would have evidence of crime, basically. So the temperature was anywhere between 12 and 24 degrees. And it could have even been lower with the wind chill.
The wind chill also has greater effects than if there was no wind.
Right.
So, in medical terms, the wind synergizes with the temperature and exacerbates the effect on the human.
Correct.
And when a
wind chill, wouldn't you, isn't it correct that you would have a greater chance of frostbite than if there was no wind chill effect at all?
Yes.
No. You saw no signs of frostbite on Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
At the time of my examination and at the time of autopsy, no, I did not.
Did you see frostbite at any other time with regard to Mr. O'Keefe?
I only examined him at the time of autopsy.
So, at the only time you examined him, which is at the time of autopsy, you had 0 signs of frostbite, correct?
Correct.
So we just have that same question. And that's okay. Because we have we feel like the other question, he was the same question. And that's part of the problem. When we did this, when we did that, and that was part and part of the whole pilot. So 3,000 times, asked and answered, and we said the same, because we kept trailing off. But it's effective, because you're repeating the same message over and over again. And his point was if he would have been out there for as long as everybody said that he was, he would have been had skin damage.
Dr. Story done. Now that you have gone through your this part of your examination here today, would you like to amend in any way your opinion?
No.
One thing might not be the full factor, but it can be a contributing factor. Multiple things. And then wasn't found for about 6 hours later. And people stand in ballistic cover for 6 hours. You would expect some evidence of the image in the light.
I'd like to move to another topic here, please. You did not include in your autopsy in any fashion any discussion of whether Mr. O'Keefe's injuries were consistent with a motor vehicle accident, did you?
No, I did not.
That's incredible. Because we know what the case of it is. We know that he was drunk. We know what the police said. And she doesn't even opine as to whether or not he was drunk. That is because that's what the whole case is. And if you had a medical examiner who never even opined on whether or not somebody got hit by a car, and it's a car case, who's going to say you're in the same space?
In fact, there were no injuries consistent with a motor vehicle impact on Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
That's huge. That should be not guilty right there, to be honest with you. I had a case where my client was killed. And then he called me about his hand. So they put her in the hospital. Dragged her to the motorcycle without shoes. They go into a 50 meter and then drop the thing off on the road. So they can look like the and anyway, these people, they see you day in, they know what we, impact you. They know what injuries you have when you're working.
Did you evaluate it all in your mind? Whether Mr. O'Keefe had anything to consistently
Oh, you guys.
Yes, I did. That is protocol in any case of suspected impact of the motor vehicle. So I did examine his legs and I did not see any evidence of an impact site.
What do you mean in your answer, no evidence of impact injury?
Either on the outside of the leg, leaking on the inside, that is in the reflected in the soft tissues, or any fracture or bones of the legs. I did not observe those things.
I love this.
To please. The state of disappearing and analysis of the response and direct examination of that area. We spoke about echinosis and all that. In medical literature, there's synonyms for echinosis of some kinds of patient injection. Echinosis doesn't echinosis does not cause a laceration to a limb. So echinosis doesn't cause a laceration. Did your report at all evaluate whether there was any significance of a laceration to the eyelid that you spoke about in your direct testimony?
What do you mean?
Other than just noting that there was a laceration to the eyelid, did your report at all evaluate the potential significance, if any, of that laceration to the eyelid?
I noted it and photographed it, and it was part
Noted
of
it.
the totality of blunt impact injuries that I noted on both the face and
knows, is it?
Laceration by definition is a blunt impact injury.
The Olympians think a pathetic army of demigods can stop me?
Say that area, something in contact with the resurface.
If somebody falls
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where it was.
So, if you take Mr. Wolf and with Your Honor's permission, publish what is already in evidence, which are depictions, let's start out with, please, the laceration to the right eye. And Dr. Sordenbeller, is this the laceration to the right eyelid that we've been talking about?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And that injury could not be caused by a fall accident in one thing, correct?
No.
Can you state your answer again? Let me restart. That injury to the right eyelid, that laceration, could not be caused by several falling backwards and hitting the head, correct?
What?
And so, the reason happened in this case, are you injured? Was it a car accident? Or delivered and would be one or
Pause one.
Dr. Shorty Bellow, the place is really good with evidence now. 165. Your Honor, may I have Mr. Wolf publish on Sister by. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. So, Dr. Shorty Bellow, that laceration to the right eyelid could not be caused by a fault accident or something like that. Right. So that injury, you called, what do you label that category? Traumatic, did you use that phraseology? Blunt impact. So that's a blunt, in your opinion, that's a blunt impact injury, correct?
Correct.
So is it correct that that injury it had to occur in some manner other than falling backwards and hitting one's head.
Yes.
And is that injury consistent or inconsistent with a punch?
What's the objection there?
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
Because it's devastating to my case!
Overruled.
Good call!
She's speculating. Let me tell you something. She's an expert. She can't opine. You know, that's the thing. A layperson can't speculate. But based on my training and experience, it is consistent.
Could be consistent.
That's huge. And that's the state one of the things about it that when we ultimately she was one of the medical examiners from Georgia. Good friend of mine. Used her in a lot of cases. But they didn't they're not supposed to have an agenda. They're not an arm of the state. They take the
If we could Mr. Wolf have the laceration to the no.
I like what he's doing. Going through the injuries into the land. Are these consistent with or he's gonna have to, and then he's probably gonna go to the hand and say, now look at his hands. Are the hands consistent with the fencing?
Dr. Scordy-Bello, I have put before you an evidence of 166, and Your Honor may, Mr. Wolf, public hand. Thank you. Dr. Scordy-Bello, does that exhibit fairly and accurately depict the laceration to the nose of Mr. O'Keefe?
Yeah, it's an abrasion. I described it as an abrasion, as a scrape.
So you would classify that as a scrape?
Yes.
That scrape could not be caused by someone falling backwards and hitting the back of their head, but
not by a single event, no.
But you know what could happen? First in the eyes, first in the fall, could cause somebody to fall backwards.
you can take that down. On your direct testimony, you talked about injuries to the right arm of Mr. O'Keefe. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
And is it correct that you, in your autopsy report, did not determine the cause of those wounds to Mr. O'Keefe's right?
No, those are the like long and they're equal distance, you know. And I don't think there's any evidence in this trial that there's either food or some other piece of metal or anything from that would match
That's correct.
With your Honor's permission, I would like to.
One of the things you can do is you can go and meet with the medical examiner before trial and say, I'm going to ask you a question. You can kind of go through some things that you'll agree with medically. And then when you get to trial, then you look like you're ready to ship it. And if you can say, hey, look, this is what they've done. If so.
after looking at and I'll give you the answer. Your Honor, may I have Mr. Wolf publish those two